You're listening to The Greg Kelly Show.
Well, we're joined by Mike Davis. I was just telling you about this guy. He's totally awesome, a very successful lawyer. He was a clerk to Neil Gorsuch, now a Supreme Court justice, and he is from the Article 3 Project. He actually started the whole thing. Mike Davis, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Mike, what do you make of what's going on in the courtroom and the jury selection and the problems they're having right now in this farce against Trump?
Well, you have this Soros-funded Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, bringing these bogus criminal indictments against a former president of the United States who happens to be the leading presidential candidate based upon a bogus legal theory passed over by the prior Manhattan DA, Cy Vance, the Manhattan U.S. Attorney, the Federal Election Commission, and Alvin Bragg himself until Matthew Colangelo got deployed from the Biden Justice Department as a political appointee and number 3 in the Biden Justice Department to resurrect the zombie case. And there before this Democrat Manhattan judge, Juan Merchan, who donated to Biden against Trump in 2020, donated to another anti-Trump cause, whose adult daughter, Lauren Merchan, has raised $100 million on her father's criminal trial of Trump. And he's refused to recuse in the face of this evidence of his clear judicial bias. A former Clinton judge from the Southern District of New York went on CNN, Caitlin Collins' show, on April 5th and said that Judge Merchan has to recuse under New York statute. It's very clear he's refused to do it. And then you have this jury pool. Manhattan's 85% against Trump, 87% against Trump. And this Judge Merchan has rigged the juror questionnaires where they're asking these potential jurors if they follow Trump on social media, for example, but they're not asking if they follow Biden on social media. This is a clearly rigged process against President Trump. This is part of the Democrats, Biden and Biden Democrats' broader lawfare and election interference campaign because they fear that President Trump is going to beat Biden like a drum on November 5th, 2024. So the Democrats just want to throw him in prison for the rest of his life.
I did not know that about the questionnaire. I heard the reports, that they want to know, do you support President Trump? Do you support the Proud Boys? Have you ever gone to a MAGA rally? That kind of thing. You're telling me the questionnaire did not include similar type questions to gauge their support for President Biden. That was not there. Wow.
That is correct. And how they think they're going to get around this is they say, do you have any anti-Trump organizations? Well, people can say, this is what happened with one of the jury foremen in one of the prior anti-Trump cases with another Trump defendant is if you say that you're anti-Trump, people could say, oh, I'm not anti-Trump, I just support Biden. And so that's how they get around that. And it is a clearly rigged process where they're absolutely going to find Trump guilty for these non-felonies, and this judge is going to convict him because he's a partisan operative.
And it's like, screw you. The people what are we going to do about it, right? What they are pulling all the strings. The judicial branch, the media, probably elections too. It's so arrogant because really, what can the people do right now? And we don't have too many things at our disposal, do we?
No, we don't. Here's what the American people can do on November 5th, 2024. The American people say that we, not these Democrats, prosecutors and these Democrat judges and these Democrats witnesses and these other Democrat operatives and these Democrat hellholes like New York, D.C., and Atlanta get to pick the next president of the United States. Americans get to pick the next president of the United States, not these Democrat operatives.
Wow. All right. So how is this going to, I just saw a headline, it's unraveling. Jury selection is unraveling. They just had to get rid of 2 that they already selected. Is it possible that you could have a mistrial before the trial really gets underway? I know this is technically the trial. What does it mean? What's happening right now? Is this thing blowing up in their faces? By faces, whose faces? I mean the prosecution, I mean the judge.
Well, the problem is this jury questionnaire did not screen out people who have a clear anti-Trump bias, and these jurors are lying to get on the jury because they're activists or they're motivated by financial whatever motivates them. You have these left-wing operatives trying to get on this jury so they can railroad Trump, right? And they're getting caught because Trump has a very good legal team that's going through these nut jobs social media posts and finding all their crazy anti-Trump social media posts. And so that's the problem. This is where this Judge Juan Merchan really screwed up and rigged this thing, because if Judge Merchan would have asked fair questions like, for example, do you have pro-Biden posts or do you follow pro-Biden organizations, you wouldn't have this problem where you have these sleeper cells who are getting onto this Democrat jury in New York, and then they get exposed and they have to come off.
So you said, okay, we got to vote, but there's got to be something in the system. Like, who's this guy's boss? I mean, like, is there any relief? I heard like there could be an emergency filing, a petition, this court, that court, maybe the Supreme Court. Is there anything at their disposal, not our disposal, but the defense team? Like, this is insanity, and everybody knows it. Is there any way out?
Yeah, I mean, there is a way out. They can file these emergency petitions. It's hard to get relief during the middle of the trial. Trump is certainly going to have all of these convictions reversed by the appellate courts, even if it has to go to the Supreme Court of the United States, because these are bogus legal theories for non-felonies, and they're pursuing this lawfare and election interference. There's no way this is going to get upheld on appeal, but the problem is that won't happen. Those appeals will not get resolved before November 5th, 2024. So these Democrat prosecutors like Alvin Bragg in Manhattan and his henchman, Matthew Colangelo, who came from the Biden Justice Department, and this Democrat judge, Juan Merchan, who donated to Biden, whose daughter is making a lot of money. Lauren Merchan is making a lot of money off of this criminal trial. She's raised $100 million off of her father's unprecedented criminal trial of Trump. They don't care if this gets reversed after November 5th, 2024. Their sole goal is to get a criminal conviction to call Trump a felon before November 5th, 2024, and maybe even put him in prison, because they're trying to interfere in the election. They're trying to rig this process so Trump can't win the election.
It's so incredible. It's kind of heartbreaking, too, that this is happening. I'm really glad you're on the case. Oh, wait, one other thing. You said that Colangelo guy. So let me get this straight. Colangelo used to be the number 3 guy at the federal Justice Department. Then he takes a job at the state attorney general's office, and now he's hanging around the Manhattan DA's office. Can you just give us an idea in the legal community just how backwards and screwed up that kind of trajectory is? And I get the only reason would be is that he's on a mission to get Trump.
He is deployed from the Biden Justice Department. He was in the number 3 office. He was the acting number 3 on the parachute team at the beginning of the Biden administration. And then he became the number 2 to the number 3 when the Senate confirmed this radical as the Associate Attorney General, Benita Gupta, and Matthew Colangelo was his number 2. He worked for Tom Perez when Tom Perez was Obama's head of civil rights. He worked for Tom Perez when Tom Perez was Obama's labor secretary. When Tom Perez went to be Obama's DNC chairman, Matthew Colangelo went into the Obama White House as a labor relations guy. And then Matthew Colangelo joined the Democrat New York Attorney General's office, and now he's in Bragg's office to get Trump.
It's so crazy. It is so crazy. Gosh. Well, Mike Davis, we're thankful for you. We're thankful for the Article 3 Project. Go to article3project.org. Many thanks, Mike. To be continued, and we'll